Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner is a New York Jet!
Swaggy Sauce Gardner.
I love Sauce. I love his tape. I love his press technique. I love his confidence. He has everything you want to see in the position. And I think Robert Saleh in this scheme is perfect. It's a hand-in-glove fit for him, man.
Garrett Wilson.
It's Garrett Wilson! The New York Jets have just got two big-time playmakers!
I believe that Garrett Wilson is going to be the most impactful rookie receiver in this class. And I think we see Zach Wilson play like he did the last 6 games of the year, times 10, and have a phenomenal second season.
Wow, you think? Yeah! Yeah! Let's Jermaine Johnson!
Brees Hall, running back, Iowa State.
Brees Hall, oh my God, they got him! They went offense. They went with the best running back in the draft. Jeremy Rucker, oh my God! The Long Island native is a New York Jet!
J-E-T-S, Jet! Let's go!
Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? We are back on Victory Monday. Let's go. The Jets are back in the win column, and today we're going to be breaking it all down, and I'm super excited to have Jack on here.
What up?
The stream, man. How you feeling on this Victory Monday? It's been a little bit.
I'm feeling absolutely fantastic, man. You're right. It has been a little bit. We had the amazing victory against the Bills, but then a bye week and then a horrible, disgraceful loss. So it's been 3 weeks since we've gotten to celebrate this beautiful feeling that is Victory Monday. But here we are. We're back. We continue to stay in the playoffs as of right now, and it's an exciting time, my man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic, man. Mike White comes out there in his first start of the season and has the best quarterback performance we've seen for the New York Jets since his own performance last year against the Cincinnati Bengals. He puts up a show, and the Jets take care of business. And going into this game, every Jets fan knew that it was one of those games that we're versing a bad team without their quarterback with a lot of injuries. And what do good teams do? They beat up on bad teams. That's exactly what the New York Jets did. We are now 7-4. We are the 7th seed in the AFC. We have a playoff spot, and vibes are hot. And the whole week is going to be talking about the whole quarterback situation with the New York Jets. What do they do with Zach Wilson? Do we ride the hot hand with Mike White? And I think it's safe to say this is Mike White's job until it's proven otherwise. I personally believe that the New York Jets are going to start Mike White until, if for whatever reason he comes back down to earth and he stinks it up to the point where we can't even win with him. But the reality is, Jack, the New York Jets are undefeated this season when they have scored 17 or more points. So all we need is a competent quarterback. All we needed is a quarterback that knows how to run an offense like a professional. And that's exactly what Mike White did. So in this stream, guys, we're going to break down Mike White's performance yesterday, break down the overall game. Later on in the show, we're going to take in call-ins so you guys can come on here. We can celebrate Victory Monday. There's a lot of positive stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of impactful players like Bam Knight coming off, making his NFL debut. Ty Johnson looking phenomenal when Michael Carter goes down with an injury. Offensive line dominating with the return of Max Mitchell and Nate Herbig. The defense, after looking bad in the first 2 drives, dominates them for the remainder of the game, pitching a shutout. And the special teams, Greg Zuerlein hitting a 57-yarder in the rain. I mean, a lot of awesome things to talk about. So if you guys can do me a gigantic favor, hit that like button on your way into the show. Really helps out a lot. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday morning. So let's just talk about Mike White to start off the show, Jack, because my biggest takeaways from him is he looked poised, in rhythm, timing, accuracy, completing to all 10 receivers. I mean, Elijah Moore is getting involved. Denzel Mims is getting involved, even with Corey Davis active. And my biggest takeaway, man, is he looks like a professional. And to quote Robert Saleh, he made the easy look easy. And that's simply all we need. And this scheme that Mike LaFleur is running here, it's exactly like the scheme is supposed to be the star. It's not supposed to be the quarterback, and that's the whole point. I feel like Zach Wilson has been trying to be the star and not relying on the scheme, and Mike White effectively was quick with his reads, got the ball out quick, accurate, spread the ball around, and it looked like a professional style offense. So what was your biggest takeaways in Mike White's first start for the Jets this season?
Yeah, as Jet fans, man, we've been waiting for quarterback play like this all season long. And we got it yesterday, not from Zach Wilson, but from Mike White, who, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. You hit all the points, but, absolute poise from the pocket, setting his feet, making the throws, making some incredibly difficult throws, but also, making all of the easy throws, all of the gimme throws, which obviously has been a huge, huge struggle for Zach Wilson, which is just unacceptable. So the fact that we saw, we saw really, really, really good quarterback play yesterday, but we've been saying, even if we just get mediocre, competent quarterback play, the way this defense is playing ball, man, we're going to win games. If, like you said, 17 points or more, and we're undefeated. So the fact that we got some awesome quarterback play yesterday for the first time all year is just so awesome to see. And Mike White, man, I mean, just making it look easy. The offensive line, I think, is a big part of that as well. Shout out to Max Mitchell and Nate Herbig, getting this offensive line back on track a little bit. But yeah, man, Mike White, it was his game. A couple throws off the top of my head, a little post route to Elijah Moore, a slant to Corey Davis, and the first throw of the game, the absolute strike to Garrett Wilson. Those are just the ones off the top of my head that were elite, top tier NFL throws. So it was great to see, man. It was great to see. Now, can he be consistent? Can he continue? Who knows? But this was a must win yesterday. And not only did we win, but we absolutely dominated. That second half was entirely the New York Jets. It was just beautiful.
Just totally stress-free the first time all season. And listen, we know that we versed the Chicago Bears team that is 3-8 without Justin Fields and a defense that's been pretty bad. But Mike White put up the best numbers of the season against the Bears defense. Out of any quarterback that went up against the Bears, Mike White executed and put up the best numbers out of anybody. Abe with the $2 super chat says, I told y'all Zach is buns. A-Rod next season. JD, let's effing go. Appreciate the donation, my friend. I don't know about A-Rod next season, but listen, I'm not worried about next year. I'm focused on today. I'm focused on the New York Jets and Mike White and this whole situation. But of course, I appreciate the $2 donation, my friend. Another thing that we have to mention about Mike White, Jack, that stood out to me is not only his play on the field, but the way that the offense was looked so free and positively. Everyone was having fun. Elijah Moore is involved. You see that touchdown. You see him like celebrate that touchdown like he's a little kid. Like all that frustration is unleashed. He's sprinting down the end zone. He's just like, you feel for Elijah because he requested a trade because he wasn't getting the ball, and he finally gets productive. He finally is part of the reason why the Jets won a game. And after the game, when Mike White was being interviewed, the whole team, the tight ends and the offensive line interrupt the interview. They're like, yeah, Mike White. It just feels like the offense and the team just rallies behind Mike White, and they really believe in him. And it's a really cool thing that this team not only plays better with Mike White, but they love him. And you can feel that sense that they root for him, they play for him, and they play freely. And all we need, and another thing that this game showed me, is that not only did the Jets have a dominant defense, but we have a legit offense. When we have a quarterback that just gets the job done. Like the playmakers around the quarterback has been, so unproductive. And I think it's a stem of the quarterback play where you put a quarterback in there. Oh my God, Garrett Wilson is literally a superstar in the making. Oh wait, Elijah Moore, who has been non-existent all season long. Maybe it is because of the quarterback and not him not getting the ball, because Jack and I were so high on Elijah Moore heading into the season, thinking he's going to break out. And we know the whole situation that happened. And you finally see Elijah Moore getting the ball, 2 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. I mean, we have a serious offense, and not to mention Breece Hall done for the season. Michael Carter going down with an ankle injury. Oh, we're going to activate Bam Knight over James Robinson, who has 103 total yards. Ty Johnson coming out there with a dominant game. 5 carries for 60-plus yards and a touchdown. Like, the offense around the quarterback is very, very good. And I think this game reminded Jets fans that we have a serious offense around the quarterback when you have a quarterback that knows what the hell he's doing, to be frank with you.
Absolutely, man. And I was talking about that on the little post-game wrap-up yesterday. When you see a quarterback that can, be a facilitator with the football and, actually not abandon the pocket if the first read isn't there. You can see Mike White turning his head, going through his reads, and if nothing downfield is there, taking the check down. And it was just beautiful to watch, man. You realize, Tyler Conklin was a factor once again yesterday. CJ Uzoma was a factor. Ty Johnson, Bam Knight. Welcome back, Elijah Moore. Obviously, Garrett Wilson still doing his thing. Corey Davis with a huge catch yesterday. It's great to have, a reliable player like him back in the lineup. And when you have a quarterback that can be a facilitator, you realize, hey, this defense isn't the only unit that's ready to go here, man. I mean, the offensive line was playing big time yesterday. The running game was, we were getting chunks in the running game again. It feels like it's been a couple weeks since we've really been solid on the ground. So it was great to see that again, man. And when you have, Mike White doing his thing, it was beautiful to watch. It was efficient and, executed to perfection, man. It really was. That entire second half was just dominant on both sides of the ball.
It really was. And this offense not only is trending in the right direction on the field, but it's also trending in the right direction on Mojo. As you guys know, Mojo is a proud sponsor of the Jets Media Monday shows, and it is looking good on Mojo this week. Mike White is up 78.69% on Mojo. If you invested in last week, you're making some good money right now because he's exploding on the market. And he's still only at $3.90. Are you kidding me? That is so cheap for a quarterback that has 2 career games with 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. If I live in New Jersey, I am downloading Mojo right now and putting all my money in Mike White because I feel like his value is just going to continue to rise and rise and rise. Now, we also have to realize that we understand that Mike White has 4 career starts in his life. 2 of them were elite. The other 2 of them, one of them he gets injured. The other one was really bad against the Buffalo Bills team last season with 4 interceptions. So the big question about Mike White is, can he be consistent? Can he do it game by game? But I also think that the Jets got to give Mike White a chance to be a quarterback and not just pull him out, pull him in. Like, he needs some in-game reps. Like, he doesn't have a lot of experience. Like, we can't forget about that. He's a young quarterback that needs experience. So Mike White at $3.90 on the Mojo market is a steal. So if I'm you guys, I download Mojo right now and invest in Mike White. And to talk about Garrett Wilson, I mean, he was trending down last week because, the whole offense did absolutely nothing against the Patriots. And I look at Garrett Wilson, Jack. He is up 3.44% on the market. And then the first time in a long time, we see Elijah Moore trending up. Now, he's been trending down all season long because he's never getting the ball. He requests a trade. He benched for a game. A lot of inconsistencies with Elijah Moore. The first time Mike White gets inserted into the lineup, Mike White and Elijah Moore go way back. They are both from South Florida. They went to camp together as young kids, and they have a connection. And Elijah Moore gets in the end zone. He's up to $11.59. Even the 2 tight ends are trending up. Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama, very cheap at $3 a piece. They're trending up. The only players that are trending down are these 2 running backs. Michael Carter, who got injured in the game, is obviously going to trend down. And James Robinson, who was a healthy scratch. They don't have Bam Knight on the Mojo market. They don't have Ty Johnson on the market. And those are the 2 guys that impacted this game in the running attack. And that tells you how deep this team truly is. So, Jack, is there anything that really stands out to you the most on the Mojo report of anyone that's trending up?
I mean, it's pretty obvious Mike White's going to trend up. Obviously, Garrett Wilson, is a star. I mean, what's not being talked about real quick, what's not being talked about enough is the cut that Garrett Wilson made on his second touchdown yesterday. I mean, Jesus, man, this guy is a star in the making. And we've already known that. But when you see a play like yesterday, woo, watch out for Garrett Wilson, man. And then, if you go over to Elijah Moore, Elijah's back, baby. We have so much talent in the receiver room, so much talent on the skill positions in general. After a performance like yesterday, I'm not really surprised to see these guys on the rise. But, I guess the surprising thing that stands out is just how many different players on offense contributed yesterday. And that obviously comes down to Mike White being the facilitator and getting the ball into the hands of 10 different targets. So
in the first half, nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, just, it's awesome stuff, man. So, I'm not really that surprised that these guys are trending up. And I feel like at this point, pick your poison. If Mike White can be consistent, Elijah Moore, I would expect to get more of a bump, and Garrett Wilson to get more of a bump. We'll see what happens with these running backs, with these tight ends. I love to see them get more involved yesterday, and that's once again due to Mike White scanning the field and finding the open guy. CJ Uzoma had a clutch catch and run on, I believe, like a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Caught the ball maybe 2 yards upfield and just knew exactly what he needed to do. Didn't dance around or any of that nonsense. Just cut it straight up the field. Got the yardage we needed for the first down. And I love it, man. The offense was just operating at a super efficient, super high level yesterday. So like I said, pick your poison, man. I don't even know who I would be rocking with at this point, because who knows what this Jets offense can look like throughout the rest of the season.
100%, man. And I feel like now's a great time to invest in these New York Jets skill players, because, Mojo is an app that it's all about offensive players. And if we have a quarterback that knows what he's doing to facilitate the rock, now is the time to invest, because the price are only going to increase and increase. So, guys, if you could do me a gigantic favor right now, simply scan the QR code on the screen or go down below in the description of the video, click the link and download Mojo. And if you do download Mojo, let me know in the live chat and I'll give you a shout out. Really would help out the channel a ton, guys. Really, really appreciate Mojo for sponsoring today's live stream. Now, Jack, let's get into the defense, because the defense, they had an interesting game.
They did.
The defense goes out there. The first drive is a mess. The second drive is a mess. We give up 10 points. We're losing 10-7. And then we have a field goal attempt to tie the game. Brady Man fumbles it in the rain, and that whole nonsense happens. But the defense bounces back, and they pitch an absolute shutout. And during the game, I put the clip of it in my live reaction calling of the game. I said, all right, defense, now's the time to get your act together and pitch a shutout for the rest of the game. And I said that halfway through the second quarter when the Bears had 10 points, and is exactly what they did throughout the rest of the game. And if there's one thing that I've noticed about this Jets defense, they may not be perfect, and they may give up some explosive plays, but they always come away with the big play when it matters the most. So what was your biggest takeaway from the Jets defense yesterday?
Just that, man. I mean, I feel like, something that has been troubling me a little bit is the inconsistencies on third down. That seems like a little bit of a trend at this point. So, that's got to get taken care of. But like you said, when you have the big plays to come back with and back up stuff like that, you're fine. And the fact of the matter is, guys, how about this stat? How many points have the Jets defense given up over the last 3 games? 30 points over the last 3 games. That's an average of 10 a game. And like you said, Rich, if we hit that magic number of 17 points, really the sky is the absolute limit because of how good this defense is playing. And that's coming against the Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, and the Chicago Bears. And I don't want to hear anything about the Chicago Bears, man. Obviously, Justin Fields wasn't playing yesterday, but the Chicago Bears offense has been pretty good in the last month and a half. They just can't win games because of their defense. But, good teams take advantage of the poor play of bad teams, and that's exactly what we did yesterday. And we shut it down, man. That second half was entirely ours on both sides of the ball. But yeah, definitely a slower start than I would have liked to get off to on the defense, but we figured it out. Guys are making plays. The secondary had another solid day. I mean, I saw Byron Pringle. You got to give credit where credit's due to Byron Pringle.
DJ Reed gives up his first touchdown of his career with the Jets.
That Byron Pringle made 2 unbelievable catches yesterday where I was like, how the hell did he catch that? That one in the fourth quarter as well as the second one that I'm talking about over the middle of the field. But that first touchdown, you just got to, DJ Reed really couldn't have played better defense on that play. He was draped all over him. It was just a great throw and an even better catch from Pringle. So I'm really you can't be mad about that, man. That's going to happen sometimes. These are all professional athletes that are giving their all out there. And Byron Pringle just got one on DJ Reed. But when that's the only touchdown of the game that we let up, and it comes in the first quarter, and that's another trend about this Jets team that I love. A positive trend is that this defense gets better throughout the game. Like while the opposing team's offense is getting worn down from going against our defense, I feel like our defense feeds off of that. And by the fourth quarter, we're just dominant, it seems like. So it's the defense had another great performance. Obviously not a perfect performance, but 31-10, man. Get bodied. Later, Chicago.
I mean, what more do you want for this Jets defense to do? It's like, we know how good this defense is. We expect them to be perfect, but in reality, they can't be perfect every single snap and every single drive. And they give up points on the first two possessions, and then they clamp it down. And the Jets, the Bears offense did not get past the 50-yard line like once until late in the fourth quarter, when it was pretty much garbage time. And that's when CJ Mosley gets his first interception of the season, which was well overdue. The captain deserves that, and I'm happy that's how the game finished off. And a very interesting thing about the game as well that I noticed on offense, Jack, the Jets kind of established their offense backwards. Usually in football, and what the Jets like to do is establish a run game that sets up the pass game. Well, the pass game set up the run game, because the run game wasn't doing anything productive until the fourth quarter. It was the pass game. I mean, that first drive from Mike White was all pass plays. Just boom, 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 boom. 6 for 7, 69 yards and a touchdown the first drive. And Mike White had 235 yards at half. And my point here is, one thing I noticed is Mike LaFleur, his game plan for this game was so totally different than what we've seen from him with Zach Wilson, where it felt like he can unlock the vertical passing attack of this Jets offense, where he didn't feel comfortable doing that with Zach Wilson. He didn't feel comfortable where he was kind of hiding Zach Wilson's weaknesses. Like, he doesn't trust Zach Wilson to make this throw. He doesn't trust Zach Wilson to make this read. Where Mike White, he unlocked the full potential of this offensive playbook through the air. And I think Mike LaFleur deserves a lot of credit, because the Jets, offensively speaking, have started 3 quarterbacks, and we're 7-4. Robert Saleh deserves credit for that. Mike LaFleur deserves credit for that, because the fact that the Jets has 3 starting quarterbacks this season and we're 7-4 speaks volumes of the system, because the system is supposed to be the quarterback's best friend, where you rely on the scheme of just, taking what the defense gives you. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is the perfect example of what we're talking about here. If you give what the defense gives you, and you're smart with the football, and you're articulate with your decisions, and you take the underneath stuff when it's there by still being aggressive down the field, that is a quarterback's best friend. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's complicated, but the best thing about Mike White is he processes things quickly. So what was your impressions of the scheme and Mike LaFleur, opening up the playbook for Mike White? And did you see any differences in the play calling with Mike White than previous weeks with Zach Wilson?
I think so. I still think there was a couple, I'm tired of running the ball up the middle on 2nd and 11. There were still a couple things that, rubbed me the wrong way with the play calling yesterday. But, I think that it's just a difference in quarterback play. Because, we can recognize, oh, this was the same play as that game if we really do our deep digging. But we're not, looking at the Jets playbook. We don't know, oh, that was, X slant, Y vertical. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough for me to really notice a difference in the plays that are called. But I just think that it's really ultimately the difference in quarterback play, Mike White's ability to just go through his reads. And, maybe the play calling, hasn't been the issue, and it's exclusively been the quarterback play. It's really tough to make that call. But I think, obviously it was a fantastic day for the offense yesterday. So I'm not, too upset with Mike LaFleur at all. I just think it's that difference in quarterback play that we really saw out there yesterday.
And how about Robert Saleh? I mean, Robert Saleh made the biggest decision of his career for the Jets of benching Zach Wilson. I mean, I don't think people realize how hard of a decision that is when you have a 2nd overall pick who is struggling, who the Jets invested in being the franchise future of this team, the face of the team. He's voted a captain. He's playing like crap. He doesn't hold himself accountable in the press conference. He's losing the locker room. And Robert Saleh goes to Mike White. And the Jets elevated Mike White a couple weeks back, and I think they deserve credit for that. Joe Flacco was the backup all season long, but then 3 or 4 weeks ago, Robert Saleh said, yeah, we're going to make Joe Flacco inactive. We're going to elevate Mike White to that backup role so he can get used to being the backup quarterback, preparing for that, being, going through warmups on the field and going through practice as a backup in the mindset. That is a big deal why Mike White is where he's at right now. And then Robert Saleh goes to Mike White. So looking back on the decision, obviously it looks like it's the proper decision for Robert Saleh to put in Mike White and benching Zach Wilson, but how much credit do you give Robert Saleh for how he's handled this season as the Jets head coach by having 3 different quarterbacks and still being 7-4?
I mean, this was a massive, massive win for Robert Saleh in particular, man, because like you said, that is a very, very tough decision to make, benching the kid that you had just taken 2nd overall in the previous year's draft. The guy that you expect when you take him to be the franchise quarterback for the future. But everybody knew it was going to be a process and most likely a rocky road, and there was going to be lots of time needed for development. But nobody, maybe even Robert Saleh included, I don't think anybody expected this Jets defense, pretty much the entire team outside of the quarterback, to be this effective and this ready to go. And the fact of the matter is that this team is ready to win now.
And with all the injuries we've suffered too. And that's a testament to Joe Douglas.
I was just going to say, shout out to Joe Douglas for assembling, depth on this roster, and doing it in a smart way, doing it, through the draft, getting some key guys in free agency, picking up a guy like Dwayne Brown. Shout out to Joe Douglas for what he's done for sure. But going back to Robert Saleh, yeah, this was, an absolutely massive win for him, coming off of a very, heartbreaking loss against the Patriots. It's probably the toughest thing to do as a head coach, considering a quarterback change mid-season. It's all about the quarterback. So, that's the most important position on the field. And to make the decision that he did, it was definitely not anything taken lightly. It definitely took a lot of thought and probably a sleepless night from Robert Saleh.
Especially when you listen to Saleh defending Zach Wilson throughout the entire year, never, ever said anything close to the fact of questioning Zach Wilson as a starter. When he elevated Mike White to quarterback number 2, he said Mike White is only playing if Zach Wilson gets hurt. And he's knocking on wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Even right after the Patriots game, they asked him if they were considering Mike White entering the game. And hey, if you think about it, I think the Jets could have beat the Patriots if they put Mike White in at halftime that game. But it's really cool that we have a coach that's not stubborn. And that's a really thing that I love. He is okay to accept change. And he was so supportive of Zach Wilson, just like me and you were, right? We were supporting Zach Wilson. We both admitted that he was playing crappy, but we also were trying to, pump him up and say, all right, Zach, you're playing like crap. You got the physical gifts. It's all in your mind right now, but we're trying to support you through the adversity, and we believe you can get out of this rut. And that's what Robert Saleh's mindset was. We were in sync with Saleh. But then Saleh, after that Patriots game, took a step back because that game was utterly just not even, that's not NFL quality quarterback play. That's not even college. I mean, he couldn't even make a single throw fundamentally. So for Robert Saleh to not be a stubborn coach and to, be on board with Zach Wilson for the whole season, and then to take a step back and then evaluate the whole team, evaluate the locker room, evaluate how this team is rallying behind Zach Wilson compared to Mike White, and make that change, and for Mike White to come through, Robert Saleh looks like a damn genius right now. And we do have to realize that Mike White has to be consistent because he's only done it once. He did it against a crappy Bears team, and he has 2 games right now ahead of him with the Vikings and the Bills to really prove if he is the guy for the rest of the season or not. But I cannot give Robert Saleh enough credit, because one thing that we all wanted to know heading into the season, Jack, there's 2 things. Is Zach Wilson the quarterback for the future, and is Robert Saleh the head coach for the future? And we got one of those answers. And Robert Saleh is definitely the head coach for the future of this team. And I've definitely seen enough. And if the Jets beat the Vikings, if they split with the Vikings and the Bills, I need Robert Saleh in the coach of the year conversations.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he turned 100%. A 32 ranked defense into top 5, and he's 7-4 with 3 damn quarterbacks.
I know. I know. It's it's really amazing what he's been able to achieve this year. And obviously I think Joe Douglas has a lot to do with that in, absolutely nailing another draft for us and just having a great offseason in general. But after the offseason, when the roster is assembled, Joe Douglas's job is, he gets a break for a little bit, then it's up to Robert Saleh and the staff and the coaching staff to whip these guys into shape and get them ready. And if you want to just talk about the defense alone, I mean, talk about going, worst to first in a year. Here you go. It happened right before our eyes. And that is a good thing for Robert Saleh, man, because after a 4-win season last year when we had the worst defense in football, and he's obviously, a defense guy, I'm not going to lie. It's very, I was obviously supporting Saleh all the way going into this year, but I wasn't sold yet. I don't think anybody really was. But he's turned things around. Obviously making that decision regarding the quarterback change. It shows that, he's not only looking out for the season itself in terms of, getting into the postseason and all that stuff, but thinking about the locker room as well. I think that, it's just we're seeing some big time things from Robert Saleh.
Grown up moves.
Yeah, exactly, man.
We've
exactly.
had Childs running this organization, feels like, for our entire lives. And I'm going to hit you with a hard question that a lot of people are talking about in the national media, that Jets fans want to talk about. And it's a hard question, and we don't know the answer to it. But what's Zach Wilson's future? Like,
I know, man.
Has he played his last game as a New York Jet? Oh, I think the only way Zach Wilson plays again this year is if Mike White goes out there in a game and just looks utterly trash, because like we all know, we don't need Mike White to be Superman. We need him to be exactly what he was yesterday. And I don't see Mike White. I mean, listen, he had 4 picks against the Bills last year. If he does that again this year, then okay, maybe we turn back to Zach Wilson. And I know that we go up against a bad Bears team, and we're happy about that. We should be. We should not be upset that we beat up on a bad Bears team. That's just not being a proper fan. You're happy about the win. And we also have to take into account that it was against a crappy team. But there is a big conversation to have here. And I heard someone say it on ESPN this morning. It was a really good take. You got to go with production over potential at this point of the season. Mike White's giving you production. Zach Wilson has all the potential. So has Zach Wilson played his last game as a Jets quarterback? Is Mike White going to be the guy for the rest of the season? Because I think the only way they bench Mike White is if he just completely has a game where he looks like he can't do anything. It's like, okay, we sat Zach Wilson. Hopefully he learned. Let's put him out. Let's put him back out there and try to make a playoff run.
Yeah. That's a tough question to answer, dude. And I'll just give you my gut feeling. My instant gut feeling is, yeah, I think Zach might have played his last game as a New York Jet. I really do.
Like
that's
this
my
season,
gut.
or like even next year, like he's done. Like
I think Zach Wilson might have played his last game as a New York Jet, dude. Like that's my bold take for the week. And it might not even be too bold of a take. Like you said, you took the words right out of my mouth when you said we don't need Mike White to be Superman. We need him to go out there and, play mediocre at the very least, because our defense is that good. And our running game can, carry our offense through a game, as we've seen a couple different times this year. So the fact that Zach, consistently can't do the easy things, and Mike White just steps into the game yesterday, and, Robert Saleh even said this, he made the easy things look easy. And a lot of people are taking that as a shot towards Zach Wilson.
Everyone's taking it. Everything the Jets players and coaches are saying, they think it's a shot at Zach, and it's not a shot at Zach.
Because this is like this is not like the Real Housewives of the New York Jets, guys. This is just Robert Saleh calling it how he sees it.
Exactly. I hate that. It's so true.
I hate that too. But I do think that my gut is telling me, man, just because of how the rest of this roster is assembled. Of course, barring an injury or maybe like, a 4-pick performance, I really don't see Zach Wilson coming back in here, man. I really don't. Robert Saleh says what the young man needs regarding Zach Wilson, what the young man needs is a total reset. How is that going to happen? You know, how's that going to happen? And guys, listen, the receipts were there. Go back on the stream last week. I said there's no way that any quarterback besides Zach is going to start, because that was after Robert Saleh said a quarterback change is the furthest thing from my mind. So I'm like, all right, you know, they took this guy second overall. They're going to ride it out with him. Cool. That was fine with me. And, you know, I'm not what my MO has kind of been all year is I'm all in on Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. I think that they have the right vision for this team. So whatever decision they make, I'm you know, fully supporting. But I did not think we were gonna see the quarterback change that we did. And for Mike White to play as good as he did yesterday, and we've seen Mike White beat a good team before. How about the Bengals last year that ended up in the freaking Super Bowl? So, you know, we know Mike White can do well against good teams. Also, it's not just, you know, the Bears or, you know, other bad teams that I have confidence in Mike White in.
And he was on his way to get another 300.
Yesterday.
And he was on his way to get another 300+ yard game in his second start last year against the Colts until he got injured in the first quarter. Like he was like 7 of 8, 95 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter or first drive, and he got hurt. And then that's when Josh Johnson came in, and Josh Johnson had like 295 yards. So Mike White was on his way. And then he had that third game against the Bills where he even said his press conference yesterday, I loved. He's like, yeah, you know, I kind of felt like, because a reporter asked a good question where, Mike White, how do you balance trying not to go out there and show that you're worth being the guy and trying to put up all these numbers and just playing within the offense? And he said, listen, that's my job here. And I admit I learned from my mistakes. Last year in that Bills game, I tried to do that. I tried to be the guy to prove that I can just make all the throws. And that's where he really learned. So let's hope as Jets fans that Mike White understands that we don't need him to be Superman. And this team is light years ahead of where it was last year. And that's another thing that people need to realize. So can the Jets, and that's another question. We talk about Zach Wilson. Okay, let's talk about Mike White for a second. Do you think Mike White is a quarterback that can take this Jets team to the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs? I mean, the crazy thing about it is we haven't seen enough of Mike White to answer that in full. But
that's
in his
the thing.
4 starts, Jack, his 4 starts, he is doing stuff historically. He's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's time to talk about it, bro. Like, stats don't lie right here. He is the first quarterback. He's the only quarterback with Patrick Mahomes to put up 300+ yards and 3 touchdowns in his twice in his first 4 games. Like, that's no like fluke. It sounds like he's already at the top of historical Jets quarterback performances. Like, the stats are kind of mind-boggling, and we've been waiting for a quarterback to put up numbers like this for our entire lives. And not to mention, I mean, how old is he? Let me just double check. I think he's around 26. He's like, let me just check real quick so I have exactly. 27 years old. So he's like up there in age, right? For someone that is just inexperienced in there. So what's your confidence level in Mike White of finishing out the season and making a playoff push if we make it?
That's a tough one, man, because, you know, obviously the sample size is still super small, but, you know, based on what we saw yesterday, you know, my expectations are that we can win games if our defense, you know, stays healthy and continues to play at this high of a level. And like we keep saying, we do not need, you know, elite top tier quarterback play with how the rest of our team is playing. We need somebody who can facilitate the ball like Mike White and get it into the hands of the open guy and actually
can't stop thinking about Jimmy G. Like, he just,
and that's
Jimmy
another
Garoppolo.
point. That's another point I was gonna make, man. You know, not Jimmy G in particular, but, you know, who knows? It could be Mike White. But it feels like this Jets team really is ready for a veteran quarterback. You know, for a move to be made in the offseason, where we get somebody reliable, who, like I said, can stand tall in the pocket, find the open man. The days of the pocket passer are not dead, man. Are not dead. Look at what Kirk Cousins has been able to do this year. And you asked me on the post-game stream yesterday, who's a good comp for Mike White? I said Matt Ryan. Now that I think about it, I think Kirk Cousins could be an even better comp. I mean, all you see Kirk Cousins do is stand tall in the pocket and deliver strike after strike after strike.
And Mike White's got some zip. He was doing that.
I mean, that slant to Elijah Moore yesterday, where Elijah, you know, had a beautiful catch and run after, and, you know, bounced off the guy, spun off the guy. But that ball,
That was a bullet.
that was a magical throw.
And then not to mention the touchdown he had to Elijah shows that the touch. I mean, the pressure is coming to the right. He shuffles his feet to the left to the open space, and he floats it over the defender to a wide open Elijah Moore for the touchdown. I mean, it's the little things. And it's just like, it's like as a Jets fan, we're like, wow. I mean, that's – and you can't stop quoting Saleh. He makes the easy look easy.
Yeah, it's the little things that you feel like, in a way, like aren't really that coachable. You know, it looks like the instinctual little things, the setting of your feet, the mental game, you know,
it's what Zach has been struggling with.
Scanning the field. And yeah, going back to Saleh's comment, not about the easy looks easy, but regarding Zach Wilson, you know, what the young man needs is a total reset. You know, when you're already an NFL quarterback, who do you call for a reset? You know, where do you go to find
Zach
that
Wilson
reset?
has to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and you know, this
scary.
team right now is not in a position to afford to do that after the win we had yesterday, after the season we've had in general. But I just really was not expecting this quarterback change. So after the win we had yesterday, man, I mean, how could you not be all in on Mike White? I mean, you got to be. With what Zach Wilson has shown us. And, you know, I don't regret anything I've said about Zach Wilson throughout the year or any feelings I've had about Zach Wilson at all. Because, you know, we all wanted Zach Wilson to be the franchise guy. We want every quarterback that we draft in the first round to be the franchise guy. And I love him to still be
the franchise guy if that's still
Yeah, listen, I don't, you know, fine. But where this team is at right now, you got to roll with Mike White until, you know, something bad happens.
Yeah, and like, hey, what if Zach Wilson right now is looking back and he's watching Mike White execute this offense the way it's supposed to, and he's watching the film and he fixes his footwork, and then he is the quarterback next year and he takes that year 3 leap. I mean, that's what the best case scenario is for the situation where we don't have to invest in a veteran quarterback, right? We feel more comfortable with a veteran quarterback, but the best case scenario is Zach Wilson learns from this and he becomes the guy that we've all wanted him to be. But the reality is we can't expect that because he's proven that he can't handle easy stuff. And another thing about the game, Jack, that we forgot to mention is the elements of the game. I mean, it was a monsoon, and Mike White still put up the numbers that he did.
It didn't feel like it affected the game at all.
You don't pass the ball in those wet and those conditions, Jack. You don't pass the ball. You run the ball, but he didn't. He passed that ball and was just decisive. The Jets didn't drop any passes. He was zipping the ball through the air, like cutting through space and time through the water. I mean, it was cool that the Jets and Mike White was able to do that in those conditions, because we saw last week the weather was a factor, according to Zach Wilson, when the wind was a factor, so he couldn't pass. So it's cool that he was able to pass that well through a monsoon. Like the rain was falling, bro.
It was coming down hard, man. And we were at week 1. That was another monsoon of a game against the Ravens. Obviously, it didn't go in our favor, but being in that stadium with it during a downpour, man, and especially, you know, I can't even imagine having to throw the ball during weather like that. It didn't feel like it affected. Yeah, it didn't feel like it affected Mike White's game at all yesterday.
But we saw Conklin.
That's another thing to talk about.
That long catch that Conklin had in the second half. I noticed he had no gloves on.
I saw that as well.
And that's because of the rain.
Yep, I think.
And he has a nice little soft catch with bare hands.
Yep.
And it's cool that the Jets, it shows that they can win in different elements. And we saw that we failed in a windy game against the Patriots because we couldn't run the ball. So I kind of want to transition real quick. And guys, really quick, I just want to say thank you to everybody tuning into the chat. You guys are really awesome right now. We got just under 200 people watching. If you guys can kindly hit that like button, please. Let's get the 100 likes if you're not already. We're going to open this up to a Jets call-in show, so you guys can come on here. We can celebrate the victory together in just a little bit. We got Jack here for just a couple more minutes, and then he's going to get out of here. Jack, we appreciate your time. Just let me know whenever you need to go, obviously.
Of course, bro. I'm going to hang out until we hit the 1 hour mark.
All right, cool. We talked about the Jets run game briefly, but I think it's time to kind of really break it down a little bit, because Zonovan Bam Knight, how about that fella? I mean, I've been high on Bam Knight at a preseason. I remember telling you, like, yo, Jack, I think we might have this gem. Like, in preseason, he looks like a dog. Like, I love him. And Ty Johnson as well. And it's really crazy because we hear the news going into the season. Not the season, excuse me, the game, that James Robinson is a healthy scratch and Bam Knight's going to make his debut. And at the time, we're questioning it, but then you go out there and you see it, and that's another brilliant move from Saleh. I mean, James Robinson is still trying to find his way in the system. To be frank with you, he didn't look that good against the Patriots. He looked a little slow. He didn't look like he has burst. And Salah said that his quote after the game was, there's a lot of meat left on the bone in this running game, and we needed a running back like Bam Knight, who was a one-cut downhill style runner, and we saw that. Fresh legs, and he looks freaking good, Jack. And if Michael Carter, who is injured right now with the sprained ankle, we don't know how severe it is. He can miss 1 game or 2 or 5. I have no idea yet. But if Carter is down, I got confidence in Bam Knight and Ty Johnson and James Robinson still here. So what was your overall takes of not only the running backs, but also the offensive line to open up holes in that fourth quarter to really get the running game going and the depth that we have at that position?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mike White was the big X factor yesterday, but the performance of the offensive line and the running attack in general, should be spoken about, just as highly. I feel like, the running game was struggling for the past couple weeks, just not as effective as it was with, Breece Hall obviously doing his thing. Yesterday we see Michael Carter go down. James Robinson is inactive. Bam Knight, man. First game active this whole year. And we see the fresh legs. You see the burst. I love what he can do with the ball in his hands. Ty Johnson had one of the most impressive runs I've seen from a Jet running back in a long time.
Since Breece Hall, really.
Yeah. Since Breece against was that against Denver? Yeah, since Breece 60+ house call against Denver. But the strength of Ty Johnson I keep going back to that stiff arm when he's still got 10 yards to go before the goal line. That was just Ty Johnson versus whoever's sorry ass that was on the Bears defense. And he just
the offensive line in that play, bro. Talk about Lincoln Tomlinson, who's had an up and down season so far, was spectacular on that play. And Denzel Mims was, and Connor McGovern was. I mean, the whole offensive line was phenomenal on that play. And before that stiff arm, that was beautiful from Ty Johnson. He made a big cut where he stopped on a dime, cut up field. He made one guy miss, and then he made that second guy miss with the stiff arm, and then he's tiptoeing into the end zone. It's like, oh my gosh, like we have an offense. And we forget because that is supposed to be, not supposed to be, but like that's been our identity of the offense with Breece Hall early in the season is explosive running touchdowns. I mean, that's the only way we get touchdowns, really. And it was cool that we have a guy in Ty Johnson who is an afterthought, right? We're excited about Breece Hall. He goes down. Okay, we love Michael Carter. Oh, okay, we go get James Robinson. I love James Robinson. So Ty Johnson's been an afterthought for this Jets fan base, and he goes out there and has the game that he did on top of Bam Knight. So the depth that we got on this team, bro, it really is awesome. And it gets me really excited for this running attack because that's really the bread and butter of this offense. And if we can continuously run the ball, I'm really excited about Bam Knight, man. I really am because he was so good in college, so good in the preseason, also brings a special teams element. He's a kick returner. So it's going to be Bam Knight and Braxton Berrios, returning kickoffs. And, he's going to be a fantasy sleeper. I mean, he put up 13 PPR points, Jack. So, like,
I know
Bam Knight is out here, 103 total yards, making people miss in the open field. Like, do we have another gem on our hands?
He had the most yards from scrimmage out of any Jet yesterday, right?
Out of any Jet, 103.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's so awesome to see. The first real game of his career, basically, first time being active all season. So, I love it. I can't wait to see, more of him and, see what potential he really has. And it just adds another layer to this Jets offense and makes you want to give Joe Douglas a hug. And, it shows that, the skill position players on this offense are here, man. These guys, this is a talented group of backs, tight ends, receivers. How about I know you mentioned this a lot, but how about the receivers as blockers? Corey Davis coming back yesterday.
Elijah Moore had a great block.
Helped a lot. I was just about to mention that, dude. Elijah Moore on a Bam Knight carry up the right side of the field had a beautiful downfield block that let Bam Knight go for, I think, 24, 25 yards on that play or something like that. Yeah. If I'm wrong about the numbers, sorry, but what a play that was. And, again, with good quarterback play, it makes you realize this offense is, really freaking good as well, or has the potential to be really freaking good.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. And the wide receivers, I'm happy you bring that up because they are a very key point of the running attack and their blocking. And Corey Davis coming back is a big, up for that. And Denzel Mims being a good blocker. It's cool seeing Elijah Moore even blocking as a wide receiver who's a little smaller framed than the other guys. But if you look at the numbers that Bam Knight put up, bro, 69 rushing yards on 4.9 yards per carry. 3 catches, 34 receiving yards, 103 total yards at the line of scrimmage, and 13.3 PPR points in fantasy. Like, what more can you ask for a guy fresh off the practice squad, fresh off, making his NFL debut as an undrafted free agent? And hey, guess who else is an undrafted free agent? James Robinson. So if there's anybody that can teach Bam Knight anything about, coming from an undrafted free agency pool, it is James Robinson. And we have not seen the last of James Robinson, by the way, especially with Carter going down. Robinson will be active. He's going to be in the mix. We got 3 running backs out there. So it's really cool that this Jets offense is getting healthy at the right time. Outside of Carter going down, obviously, Max Mitchell returning, who was one of the best tackles in the league last week, according to PFF. Nate Herbig coming out there. We still have George Fant coming back, who's going to be that swing tackle role. And the tight ends are still there. We got this phenomenal wide receiver room. Like we mentioned it earlier, Jack, but it really is cool that we saw like the full potential of the offense finally unlock and all 10 receivers getting the ball in the first half. Like Denzel, and I love that Robert Saleh is still giving Denzel Mims an opportunity to play when Corey Davis is healthy. That tells you a lot about this coaching staff, where if you prove to be a guy behind the scenes that you're putting in the work and you prove your worth, remember Denzel Mims has been inactive. And then now he's active over Jeff Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, a credit once again. I'll mention Joe Douglas's name. We've obviously all been holding out hopes for Denzel Mims. And, he doesn't need to be, a number 1 receiving target. I think that, that time has passed. But if he can just be another contributor on this offense, depth, and more depth, man. That's what good teams need and can thrive off of. I mean, how many players like a Bam Knight, like a Denzel Mims in certain games, like a Nate Herbig, have stepped up and played amazing for us. Don't know where Richie went. I assume he will be back in a moment or two. But yeah, dude, the fact that guys like Denzel Mims, like I said, Bam Knight, Herbig, whoever you want to throw in, guys that we had no idea would be contributing and now are contributing. It's a credit to this coaching staff for making sure everybody's ready to go. It's a credit to Joe Douglas for assembling depth and talent throughout this entire roster. And it's refreshing to see, man. It's I really do have confidence in so many different players on this Jets team. Deepest running back room in the league: Hall, Robinson, Bam, Carter. Yeah, dude. You can make that argument for sure. Maybe definitely the deepest. Maybe. Who knows? I'd have to look at some other rosters first and know who their second guy and third guy and even fourth guy is. But how about Ty Johnson yesterday as well? Yeah, man. Exciting stuff. All right, guys. Let me check out this chat for a moment here. You guys like my Jets wall, by the way? I got the flag. I got some stickers. Oh, there's Richie.
Thank you. Sorry. Something just came up real quick.
All good.
Yeah, I forgot you have access, so you can hit the chat, by the way.
Yeah. I was about to do that, and then you returned.
Yeah, man. So I saw a super chat. He said, do we have the deepest running back room in the league? One of them.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, yeah. I would have to look at all the other rosters and know who their 2, 3, and 4 is. But, yeah, I mean, even Ty Johnson's name isn't even on there. Ty Johnson had a day yesterday. So, 5 different people we know of that can really contribute when their name is called and they're put in the right situation for them. Obviously, Ty Johnson running a wheel route in one-on-one coverage up the sideline didn't work out. But you give it to Ty Johnson yesterday when there's elite blocking up the field and you let him do his thing with the ball in his hands.
He even got a first down on 3rd and 13. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you put these guys in situations more friendly to their play style, you see what can happen.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like we need to start putting more love on the receivers because we finally got to see their potential unlock yesterday. Like going into the season, we were so high in the receivers as one of the strong suits of this team. Getting Garrett Wilson at 10, Elijah Moore entering year number 2, and all season long, like Elijah Moore has been an afterthought for a lot of reasons. And we saw what Elijah Moore is capable of, Jack. Like this guy is not just like a player that is requesting a trade and negative, and he's like a bum. Like it's kind of unfortunate that that had to happen a couple weeks back for sure. But the reality is the reason why the Jets heard that trade request and was like, yeah, right, Elijah, you're not going anywhere. Like we value you. Like we value your talent and please be patient. We're trying to work through some things and where you're going to get your time. And guess what, man? This is Elijah Moore's time because I think Elijah Moore has a really big opportunity to take off like for the rest of the season with Mike White as the quarterback. Because it's obvious that Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore had no chemistry at all. I mean, Zach Wilson was looking at the first and second reads, and the first read was never Elijah Moore. And we see Mike White, who's a quarterback that likes to facilitate and like the rock, and Mike White and Elijah Moore have chemistry. They go back to South Florida days. So what's your expectations for Elijah Moore for the rest of the season and even Garrett Wilson? Because last week you saw Garrett Wilson fiery after the press conference. Calling out the team, saying we played sorry out there. You got to put more. He was like calling out the team. He's like, you got to put more faith in us as wide receivers to go make some plays. And I was so in agreement of Garrett. I'm like, bro, we're talented at the wide receiver room. We got to start putting the ball in the air so they can go out there and make some catches, even if they're not open. And we saw Mike White do that, put trust in the receivers, try to squeeze throws out there. We know what Garrett Wilson's talent is. And by the way, first time getting in the end zone since week number 2 when I was with Joe Flacco out there. So what's your expectations for the wide receiver room as a whole for the rest of the season, thinking Mike White's the guy?
Yeah, going as if Mike White is the guy. I think the sky's the limit for this offense, man, because Jets fans needed a win like this so badly. I mean, obviously we know, at least with Zach Wilson, we were a run-first team, make the throws when you have to. And yesterday we kind of turned into that offense that every offense in today's NFL at least wants to be, right? That pass first, beat you downfield type of attack. And then the running game came in there and sealed the deal in the second half and really turned up and, locked the game away for us. But the fact that 3 out of the 4 touchdowns yesterday came from wide receivers, 2 of them from Garrett Wilson, 1 from Elijah Moore. We needed that so bad.
Like Jack, Elijah Moore is very so good. Like I feel like
I know. I tweeted that. I tweeted that yesterday. The Jets have more than one talented pass catcher. It's like
going into the season, we're like Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. That's the future of this team. And throughout the season, we're like, oh man, Elijah Moore is, he's not here. He's not here mentally. He's giving up on the team, and that's all true. And now we're here. We're like, wait a second. Elijah Moore, like him getting that touchdown could do a lot of things for him personally, because that takes the monkey off his back. That's like, I got in the end zone, that allow him to he literally was a little kid celebrating. And you saw that. You saw the stress, and you love the team rallying around Elijah, celebrating around him, because they're in the locker room with him. They know his frustration. They know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's going on. So it's cool to see the team kind of rally behind Elijah Moore after that touchdown. So Jack, I just came across a tweet. It's Richard Sherman and his thoughts on the quarterback controversy, if you call it that, with the Jets. And I did not watch it yet, but I'm going to play it, and then I want to hear your thoughts of it, and then I'll let you go, all right?
Let's do it, man.
And again, I have not watched this yet, so I have no idea what Sherman's about to say, but I always like to hear what he has to say. He's a very intelligent mind, and he loves Robert Saleh, and he's a big fan of the Jets. So let's hear what Richard Sherman has to say.
Imagine if he was the number 2 overall pick and he was playing like this. That's what I hate about this league. I hate the pedigrees. I hate, the scouts had this guy. He had all his talent. His ceiling is so high. It's shut up. Either they can play or they can't play. Potential is the most overused, overrated thing I've ever heard. And that's all you hear with these quarterbacks. I'm a production guy. Mike White has production. Will Zach Wilson still going to come back? For what? When has he shown the kind of game that Mike White just played? And then you hear about how his teammates are talking about him. They talk about his work ethic. You hear about how happy they are for him, how much fun they're having. That's when you know you got a special guy. If we just took everything away and swapped the stories of Zach Wilson and Mike White, it was just Mike White drafted 2, and he's playing this well, and his teammates are saying this about him. You'd be like, hey, they made the right pick. They got a franchise guy. But since he was a 5th-round pick, since he's an unheralded guy, you're not talking about, oh, well, they found their franchise quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback.
Well, Richard Sherman is thinking Mike White is a franchise guy, and his point there, it seems, Jack, is like he hates that people read so much into where players were drafted, right? Zach Wilson's drafted 2nd overall. Mike White was a 5th-round pick by the Dallas Cowboys, and the Jets pick him up, like with Adam Gase, by the way. And he's been on the Jets practice squad. He's been cut with the Jets, and he's a guy that's a journeyman. Not really, because he's been on the Cowboys and the Jets. And so what's your thoughts about what Richard Sherman had to say there quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what he had to say. I still think that obviously if you take somebody 2nd overall, you're going to give them their time to shine, and you're not just going to, close the door on them the second they start to play bad. But Zach Wilson definitely got his time. It's not like we have a small – it's not – yeah, exactly. It's not like you can call the sample size from Zach Wilson small anymore. So – it's Mike White's team right now, man. I'm not going to call Mike White the franchise guy. But with the way they played yesterday, getting the ball into 10 different receivers' hands in the first half, 21 for, what was it? 21 for 26?
22 for 28.
22 for 28. So it's not like he passed the ball 43 times and got, 316 yards, 315, whatever it was. He passed the ball 22 times. That's still like right where we want to be. So the efficiency, the efficiency was off the charts. I mean, nearly a 150 passer rating. It's, you got for the foreseeable future. Obviously, unless he gets hurt or, stinks it up really badly.
Let's just flip it around this way, Jack.
You got to go with Mike White.
Let's just flip it around this way. What if Zach Wilson put up this exact stat line? What are we saying right now?
We're saying that we have a quarterback.
If Zach Wilson went out there and did exactly this. Now, if Zach Wilson played yesterday, do you think the Jets win? I think so. I think the Jets win that game with Zach Wilson yesterday. But I don't think Zach Wilson puts up this type of numbers. I think we win in a very different way. But the fact that Mike White goes in there and like this is the first time this season that the Jets won a game because of or the quarterback was a reason for the victory, right? All 5 of Zach Wilson's victories, you can say one of them he was a big part of, and that was against the Steelers when he single-handedly, in that 4th quarter was perfect. But outside of that win, Zach Wilson was just relying on the defense, which at the time wasn't an issue because we didn't need him to be. But the one thing I'll say about Mike White, Jack, before I let you go, is if he is going to be the guy, say the Jets go all in on Mike White for the rest of the season, the Jets make the playoffs, there is going to be a time where Mike White's going to have to make big plays. We're talking about football here. We're talking about playoff potentially. Football is a violent game. And there's going to be situations where the Jets are down by 3 points late in the 4th quarter where Mike White's going to have to become Superman. There's going to be times where he's going to have to do that. And I don't think anybody can predict him being able to do it or not because we haven't seen enough from him. But the reality is we're so good around him where right now he just needs to be mediocre to help us get to the playoffs. But if he is the quarterback in the playoffs, it's a different animal. We saw remember the Bills-Chiefs game last year with Mahomes and Allen? I mean, that was like a quarterback barrage. The playoffs is a different animal. And there is going to be some times that Mike White's going to have to become a little better than mediocre for us to go to the Super Bowl. And that's why we're playing football. Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely think that's possible. I mean, he played great yesterday. He didn't play mediocre yesterday. So we know he has the potential for, incredible, performances. We know he can obviously be inconsistent. But this is a new year, 2nd year in this particular offensive scheme. And with the way he looked yesterday, man, there's no reason to think that, he's going to have a game as bad as he did against the Bills last year. the way it's looking right now, he'll have an opportunity to get it back against the
Redemption.
Buffalo Bills. Exactly. So I'm just hoping that he keeps a cool head, doesn't get ahead of himself after this win, but he doesn't seem like that type of dude to me. I think he's got the support of his teammates, obviously the support of Robert Saleh and the coaching staff. I think the only person mad right now is Zach Wilson. So, yesterday was just fun, man. Yesterday was a fun game to watch. Like you said, stress-free second half. That's what Mike White gave us yesterday. So, I'll tip my cap to more of that and, hope for the best. But you're right. There will probably come a time where we're going to need him to be, the reason why we can, come back and win a game and maybe, have a game-winning drive late in the fourth or something like that. And I think that, he does, I think he can do that. And hopefully we won't be in a situation like that. And, there is a chance that we won't. I mean, like I said, we've let up 30 points through the last 3 games playing some pretty damn good offenses. So, right now we're in a pretty good spot, man. I'm loving where we're at.
Me too, man. And Chris K with the $5 super chat says, White, quarterback number 1, Saleh's mentality is shifting towards playoffs. No more rah-rah post-game speeches. It's all business. LaFleur is a good offensive coordinator. Let's go Jets. And I really think yesterday's game proves that Mike LaFleur knows what he's doing, because I think it wasn't perfect, but when you have a backup quarterback to go in there and do the thing that Mike White just did, that was all scheme. That was all play calling. Got to give credit to Mike LaFleur as much as you give credit to Mike White. So, Jack, we appreciate you staying on here for an hour plus. Now, guys, we're going to open this up to a Q&A. So, Jack, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day with, what you got going on there with the music. Good luck with all that. Bro.
Appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys. Enjoy the call-in. Enjoy this Victory Monday. Let's get ready for Minnesota. Let's go, baby. JTS. Jets, Jets, Jets. Forever. Love you, Richie. Love you, everybody. Peace out.
Peace out, man. Love you too, brother. Peace. All right, guys. So now we're going to open this up to a Jets call-in. So if you guys want to come on here and share the Victory Monday energy with me, pull up. It is now linked in the chat so you guys can tell me how you feel about the win. Let's get to 100 likes, everybody. Everyone hit that like button, please. We got 98 of them. 98 of them. Can we get 2 more? Who wants to be the lucky 2? Who wants to be the lucky 2 to make it 100 likes? Hey, we already got there. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. All right, everyone pull up. Whoever wants to talk some Jets and celebrate Victory Monday, we are going to there's going to be a lot of people joining, so we're trying to limit it to like 3 to 4 minutes a caller so we can get to everybody. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And we're going to get to everybody. So just stay patient in the backstage. And let's go Jets. And I'm excited for this, man. Let's get it started. Charles, the man.
Hey,
the
Richie.
legend.
I wouldn't call myself the legend, but
I'm
first of all,
how
was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was fantastic, my man. Great food, great family, friends, and the Jets won, man. How about you?
Good. I went to, funny enough, I went to my high school reunion this past Saturday.
Oh, wow. That's always something.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I went to the same high school that Bob Wischusen went to. That's Catholic in Scotch Plains. That's
my idol, man. I love Bob.
I actually met him in person, too.
No way.
My sophomore year of high school. I was walking in my English class, and I saw him talking to one of the staff. I was like, holy shit, it's Bob Wischusen. So I go to my class all starstruck, and everyone's looking at me like, Charles, what'd you see, man? I said, I just saw Bob Wischusen. Right now to the New York Jets. So I told my English teacher, I'll be right back. I talked to Bob, and we talked about how crazy the 09 season was.
That's
awesome. At that time, and it was fucking great.
Anyway,
great. Mike White is a competent quarterback. We're not asking, look, all fucking season long, we've been asking for not just greatness, but competence. This system relies on competence. Look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not a great quarterback, but he's a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
That's why he's winning.
That's what this Jets team needs, man.
For the 49ers.
That's all this Jets team needs is a guy that's competent and plays the game like a professional. And the reality is Zach Wilson is not getting it done and being a professional on and off the field. And you got to give Robert Saleh credit for making the move, and you got to give a lot of credit to Mike White for executing, man. And that the potential of this offense with the mediocre quarterback shows you, because why, Charles? How good we are around the quarterback.
That's true. And, we could thank the Dallas Cowboys for getting rid of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got their guy Cooper Rush, who was their backup star. And now we have a backup star, potentially our own starter in Mike White. So the Mike White legend continues. It all started last year. And another thing about
there was a good reason why it started last year, because Zach Wilson was inconsistent throughout early on his rookie year before playing well down the stretch. But Mike White showed you something. He showed you that he can play in this league. He's a competent guy. Plus, the Jets' offensive line last year was terrible, outside of George Fant, Elijah Vera Tucker, and a few others. The receivers we had were not as talented as we do now. The running game wasn't as good. The defense was atrocious. But guess what? He showed me, and you know what? It's Mike White gained a lot of respect for me, a lot more respect for me yesterday, that he can play in the elements.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, to me, showed that he can't play in the elements. Like, dude, look at all the quarterbacks that have had success in the elements. The Manning brothers, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Ken Anderson, guys that have had success in the elements. If you can't play in the elements, then what the hell are you doing?
No, you're 100% right, especially when you're a quarterback in the Northeast like the New York Jets are. You got to be able to play in the elements. You hit the nail on the head, my man. Well, Charles, I appreciate the call. We're going to get to the next one. I always appreciate your support on the channel. And,
go Jets, baby.
Let's go Jets.
I got them beating Minnesota.
Let's go. I love it. All right, Charles, have a good rest of your day, my friend. Charles got the Jets beating Minnesota. I hope you guys too. Peanut on the Jets says May donation for @PattyCake membership. JETS Jets. Thank you so much for the donation, my friend. See a lot of people asking Patty to join. Patty isn't joining, it seems. He's not at backstage. He's scared of the smoke. Caden.
Richie.
Weekly caller here. What's up, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great after yesterday. I was able to watch the game, which felt great to see us obliterate another team. Something we don't get to do often. So it just felt so good to just watch us smack them. Oh, it was just
what do good teams do, Caden? We smack up on bad teams.
I know. And that's the thing. That's what we needed to do. We needed
exactly.
to
Everyone's like, oh, it's the Bears. It's the Bears. Well, how about we appreciate the fact that we're a team that can actually take advantage of a bad opponent and smack them around?
Exactly. We needed to show yesterday why we are a team that can go against bad opponents and show them why we are one of the top teams in the league. So with my few minutes, I just want to do a quick game recap, and then I want to just get your thoughts on the rest of the schedule and what our chances are in the next few games.
Awesome.
But so just first of all, Mike effing White, what the hell? I was a bit scared at first after the first drive, and on the second drive when we stalled out, and then the defense kind of seemed they weren't up to par like they normally were. That had me scared at first for a minute, because that was very unlike the defense. And then especially on the second drive when the offense stalled out. But Mike White, he brought us back, got us another touchdown, and he did not look back. Showed the world why he is a competent quarterback. And like Charles was just saying, he can play in the elements. Sadly, Zach cannot. He had such a great QB rating, had 315 yards in his past 3 games. Did Zach even have that combined? I don't think so. So it's just it was just such a refreshing feeling to see competent offense, and then also being able to run the ball when we couldn't at all last week. It was just a great feeling. Defense clamped down. They were able to stop the Bears and stuff in general. Look, I will say the run game seemed a little bit anemic, but it is what it is and stuff in general. I don't think they were trying their absolute hardest, trying to probably keep healthy for next week against Minnesota. It was just such a great feeling to be able to watch a wholehearted effort from each 3 phases of the team, and we executed.
100%. And that's really what this game shows me, and I couldn't agree more with you, Caden.
Okay. So, and then on to the schedule. I've been thinking about this. So right now we're 7-4. We need 2 more wins to make the playoffs for sure, at least. Probably more 3 overall. 9's the bare minimum though. So I'm looking at the schedule. We have Minnesota, Buffalo. I think then it's Detroit and Jacksonville, Seattle, Miami, something like that. So, I mean, looking at it, like, record-wise, you should be able to easily beat Detroit and Jacksonville. But that's the thing. Detroit's been playing hard football lately. They went toe-to-toe with Buffalo and almost took them down. And then Jacksonville just beat Baltimore, one of the better teams in the league. So I'm looking, and it's like it's definitely not the easiest schedule in general. So, like, what are your thoughts on the upcoming schedule? Like, what we'll be able to do?
The fact that the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills gives me a lot of confidence that we can compete with anybody. If they lost to the Bills and we've only beat teams that with backup quarterbacks, right, then I'd feel a little different. But the fact that the Jets defense is playing at the magnitude that they're playing, I got confidence in them beating even the Vikings. I got confidence in them even beating the Seahawks and, beating the Dolphins. So I personally think you have to win 10 games to give you a chance to make the playoffs. Because unfortunately right now for the Jets, they can miss the playoffs with 10 wins because of how good the AFC is and how the tiebreakers are all there.
Pretty stacked.
If the Patriots somehow finish 10-7, they have the tiebreaker over us. If the Bengals finish 10-7, they got the tiebreaker over us. Don't sleep on the Chargers, who are a game behind us. They can get 10-7 or even, get 11 wins for all we know. So the magic number for the Jets, and it's a lot to ask for, is 11 wins is a clinch. You're in the playoffs 100% with 11 wins. 10 wins, you got to get lucky with the tiebreakers. 9 wins, I don't really see us making the playoffs. So when you look at the rest of the schedule, I got it over here. We're talking about 6 more games, and the Jets have 7 wins. So if they split it 3-3, that's 10 wins. But if they want to go crazy, Caden, and go 4-2, that's your key to the playoffs, and that's how you get hot into the playoffs.
You have to split the next 6 games. I think there's no real other option in my mind unless we get really lucky and like Bengals, Patriots, and Chargers do really poorly down the stretch.
And the way I'm looking at it too is you split the next 2 games on the road with the Vikings and Bills, and like you mentioned, the Lions and the Jaguars, they're not an easy loss. They're not an easy wins.
They're not a pushover.
Sweep their asses at home, and then you win the next 2 games on the road. That gives you 3-3, and maybe we can beat the Seahawks and the Dolphins. I don't know, but the schedule is definitely not easy. But the reality is the way that this Jets team is humming and defensively, I feel like that we can compete against anybody. And I like, the Seahawks are kind of coming down to earth right now. They're 6-5. They're having a heartbreaking loss. They're on a losing streak, and it's a hostile environment in Seattle. That's a homecoming for Saleh. Man, I just feel like these next 2 games is really going to tell the tale because we have to win one of the next 2 games. And obviously we want to win both, but
I feel like we can compete with all the teams coming up. What almost worries me more is the fact that the Bengals now, they're going to get back to Jamar Chase, so they're going to get even better.
I mean, the Ravens losing is big because now it's going to add more of a competition where the Bengals and Ravens are tied, so they can start sliding. So we need to start rooting again. And also, if you look at the schedule around the AFC, it's really beneficial for the Jets because the Dolphins' schedule gets hard. The Patriots and the Bills play each other, so one of them is going to lose. The Dolphins are going to verse the Chargers eventually, so one of them are going to lose. The Bengals' schedule is really hard. So, unfortunately, the Jets couldn't beat the Patriots because if they beat the Patriots, then we would have been talking about controlling our own destiny. But now we have to look out for the other team. So, Caden, I appreciate the call. We're going to get to the next caller, my friend. And happy to see you happy as always on Victory Monday.
Let's go, Richie. And I feel like we can match up well against Minnesota. Offense just has to be competent. Defense put out its best game. And I feel like we can go toe-to-toe with them. And I think we can take them down. Once again, we can shock the football world. Let's go do it, Richie.
Woo! Let's go shock the football world. Peace out, Caden. Appreciate you. Love that. Let's go shock the football world. I think that's the key to the Minnesota Vikings. The defense has to have one of the best games of the year. Chris K. What's up, brother?
Happy Victory Monday.
Happy Victory Monday. Appreciate you hopping on, my man.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to check in real quick. I'm about to head into school. So outstanding game from the Jets, man. It was nice to sit back and watch a game without having to be on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah, right.
But the 3 things that we need to watch with this team right now is going to be obviously number 1, Mike White, right? We saw the game yesterday. I'm not going to crown him yet, but let's see how he looks going into a competent Minnesota game. See if he can put up some similar numbers. And if he does, we may have a new QB1 on our hands for a long term if they decide to break him off for the deal. It's hard to give Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, the crap for drafting Zach Wilson, but not giving them the credit for bringing in Mike White as well. So we need to remember that as a fan base. Number 2, we need to watch Robert Saleh, man. If you see his post-game speeches and to the team and the way he addresses them, there's no more hype man energy. It's very business savvy. He is getting straight to business. You can see it in his eyes, man. He's ready for the playoffs, and he thinks this team's got what it takes. So the way our team responds to that is going to be huge. I think obviously they're going to, he's a leader of men. They're going to step up to the challenge and they're going to do what's expected. But I really did like to, he didn't let that game get to his head. I don't think anybody did really, but it was a good win, but it wasn't, it's what needed to be done. It was business as usual. And that's how he addressed the team in his post-game speech. And I think that, that's what we want to see. That's what we need to see from this coach. It's nice to celebrate a win, but, Robert Saleh's got the big picture in mind. And I mean, he's a week-to-week guy already. So anytime he gets up there and, in front of the podium with the press, or he's talking to the team, you're starting to see those gears shifting in his head, and he's getting ready. So watch out for that, man, because he's a bad man, dude. We've seen him in the playoffs. We've seen him lead that 49er defense to the Super Bowl. And I'm not, knock on wood, right? We're healthy. We're good. We've got a solid group of core players that are capable of making this playoff push, if that's what it comes down to, which leads me to my third talking point before I get out of here. And you guys touched on it with the last caller. Watch out for the Bengals, man. Watch out for, both those AFC teams, the Bengals and the Ravens. They have tiebreaker wins over us, which is, it's a realistic thing that we need to start looking at, is watching these games. And anytime any team is playing against, in the AFC is playing against the NFC team, whether it's the Browns or, whether it was the Chargers yesterday, like you got to root for, those NFC teams to take the win. But yeah, we've got to be competitive. We've got to watch these AFC teams. There's, unfortunately, the beginning of the season put us in a tricky situation where now we're kind of depending on other teams to handle business when it comes to those tiebreaker games. And the Bengals, I wouldn't sleep on them just yet. That obviously with Jamar Chase coming back, they're going to be looking a lot better than they have been.
Absolutely.
But, you don't want to sleep on them because they've done this. They just did this last year. This isn't, it's nothing new to them. This is supposed to be their year to come back. And that's the energy that they carry. And I watch a lot of the post-game press conferences with a lot of these teams just to kind of see where their head's at and see what they're putting down. And the Bengals, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bengals take that division, away from the Ravens right now. Like they're looking.
The Ravens' loss was huge for a lot of reasons. And you're right. We got to look out for other teams. And it's unfortunate the Titans couldn't come away with the victory. That was really upsetting. Yeah. But luckily the Patriots lost. And I love your point about Saleh, man. He's all business oriented. He's not getting over the top. His speeches, you can see that look in his eyes, like, good job, guys, but a lot of work to be done. Like, we cannot get over the top. And he's making sure that this Jets team doesn't get too high on wins and they don't get too low on losses. And that is a leader of men. Shout out to Nick Okino in the chat. Mike White, GOAT. Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. But Chris, I loved all the points that you made. I could not agree with them more. And this is going to be a dogfight. The next 6 games for the Jets, they got to go 500 minimum. And if they really want to make the playoffs without worrying about anybody else, I think 4-2 gets them in, no matter what any other team does. So we'll have to see what happens.
Hey, man, let's sweep the Bills, right?
Sweep the Bills somehow. Oh, man.
The Patriots, but if we can, it's a long shot, but if we can sweep the other 2 teams in the division, it's a lock, man. So I'm optimistic, bro. I'm going to let you go, though, because I got to jet into school. I appreciate you taking the call, man. I appreciate
Chris.
Love your channel, brother. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you and all the donations and all the support on the channel, my man.
For sure,
Let's
man.
go Jets. Shout out Chris. Shout out Poppy with a $5 super chat. Richie, who are we rooting for this Thursday? I say the Bills, because if the Bills beat the Patriots and the Jets beat the Vikings, we got 2 games on the Patriots, and the Patriots have the tiebreaker over us. So we need the Patriots to be buried and buried and buried. I'd rather look up to the Bills than have the Patriots breathing down our neck, because, again, the Patriots have the tiebreaker on us. So if we finish off the season with the same record as the Patriots, they are ahead of us. So I think it's a rooting for the Bills on Thursday. Let's bury those damn Patriots. Screw them. Yeah, that's right. Appreciate the donation, my friend. Josh, another Victory Monday with you pulling up. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Let's go. So it was another good win. Not gonna praise too much about it because it's an injured Bears team. But my word for today, for this Jets nation, and Jets media, Jets fans, is be humble. be humble when it comes to the whole Jets team. Mike White, yes, he did his thing, but he did the same thing last year, and everybody saw what he done afterwards. So I just feel like all the Jets fans should just be very humble. I feel like all our Jets fans need to have the same mindset as Coach Salah and and Joe Douglas. Like every time they get a win, they just move on to the next one. That's the same mindset we have to have as Jets fans, because we can't get too happy with one W or two W's. We got to keep it going. Mike White, he really did his thing, but he still has more to prove. Has more to prove. Yes, it's just one game. Can he do the same thing next week? What about against the Bills? So he got a lot of stepping up to do. Defense has been solid all year. I can't believe the defense that we have this year. It's crazy. Like it's definitely a Super Bowl bond, playoff bond defense that we have. Like we can beat any team with our defense.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more with you, Josh. I mean, us as a fan base got to stay humbled, because if we get too high, that sets up disappointment. And that doesn't say we can't be happy right now, but at the same time, we have to realize that Mike White last year did exactly what he did. And then he went out there against the Colts, looked fantastic, gets hurt, and then he stinks it up against the Bills. So Mike White has to prove that he can be consistent, and there's still a long way to go. We're 7-4. We position ourselves in a great playoff opportunity, but there's still business to take care of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in the whole Zach Wilson situation, I feel like that was perfect. Yes. When he came in, he won us 5 games, lost 2. But after that Patriots game, that was just a whole big disappointment. Like that was horrible. Like and from the play calling too, from Matt LaFleur, him too. He got to do a better job with calling these plays. He redeemed himself this week with the Bears, but again, the Bears is very injured. We have to prove ourselves against a great team like the Vikings coming up, like the Bills coming up. We're gonna really see what the Jets are this year from these 2 games coming up, the Vikings and the Bills. We're gonna see what we're gonna do. We're gonna see what Mike White gonna do. We're gonna see what this team is really about this year.
Got to win one of the next 2, Josh. Got to at least bare minimum, right?
Yes, sir. I'm not gonna take up your time too much. Gotta get back
Josh,
to my house.
I appreciate your humbled opinion on this Jets team. I could tell like there's other wins where you're on cloud 9. You're even killed right now. We took care of, and that's my favorite thing about yesterday. Heading into it, it felt like let's take care of business, and we took care of business, and that's how Jets fans should feel. We should be happy that we took care of business, because good teams dominate bad teams. It's exactly what we did. The Bears are not a good team. They have a backup quarterback with injuries all over their roster, and we took advantage of that. And let's move on. So, Josh, I appreciate the call, my friend, and hopefully we're celebrating Victory Monday next week, because I'll tell you this, if we win on Monday, if we win this Sunday, the Victory Monday is going to be pretty crazy.
You already know I'm bring that energy if you win, man.
Yes,
man,
sir.
Let's go, Jets. Keep this channel going, Richie. Love your channel, man. I salute
Thank you so
man.
much,
All
Josh.
love.
Appreciate you, Josh, as always. Let's go, Jets. Love the energy, my man. Love the energy. Jets Unleash is in the house.
What up, Richie? How you been doing this morning?
Oh, I've been so fantastic, my man. Watching highlights of the game, rewatching the game, listening to Jets fans happy. Mike White season is alive. Robert Saleh's here. I don't know. I'm feeling great.
Dude,
how about you, man?
I'm excited, man. I liked Mike White, man, and I even you guys, any fan, you can go back to Wednesday, last Wednesday. I predicted that Mike White was going to be a superstar, and I predicted it, and guess what? It happened. And I also predicted that all of our AFC rivals will actually lose, and guess what? Patriots lost on Thanksgiving. While I'm eating my turkey, I'm seeing a wonderful game and seeing them lose. That was an amazing night, man. I'm excited, man.
Too bad Alliance can come away with that. That would have been better,
sadly.
but it's all good.
But man, dude, I'm just so excited, dude. See if Mike White not only that, you're gonna be doing a tomorrow. You're gonna be doing a film review, right?
Yes.
I'm so excited for you to see that, because I've just been going back to this game, dude, and you actually could see progression. Like last year, Mike White was just doing checkdowns, and all that. This year, dude, he's throwing it the ball down the field. He's
Facts.
developing. He's going to people. I understand people are skeptical saying, "Oh, he did this last year too." Well, this year he had 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. So he didn't do that last year. So
Nope.
it's awesome to see this guy developing and just seeing him what he can do, you know. And I'm not scared of the Patriots, you know. I'm hoping the Patriots win, and there's a reason why. Their schedule is brutal. They're going against a Warriors that just beat the Seahawks. They upset that. That's gonna be a tough fight for them. They're going against the Cardinals, which they struggle against winning QBs, so that's not gonna be an easy game for them. And then they gotta go against the Dolphins, and then the Bills and the Bengals. How some of these Patriots fans, dude, are delusional. And you can barely even make one win for them, dude. So I hope so that they win Thursday night so that we can have a battle shot of passing them and have a battle pick or have a battle wildcard spot, because going down, I've been looking at this wildcard spot, man. It's insane. We better hope Chargers or Bengals don't tie with us, because if they tie with us, they win against us.
Yeah.
So
that's the scary
the
part.
11 wins may not cut it for us. We may have to get 12 wins. So that the Jets versus Bills game is going to be it's going to be real interesting. We might have to. That must be a must win. But dude, I'm excited for this Viking game though, dude. The Vikings game's going to show what Mike White can actually do. If he wins this game, he's the star for the rest of the season. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you cannot bench that.
That's not a bold take. That's true. If Mike White beats the Minnesota Vikings, and I really think the Minnesota Vikings game is going to be more about the defense than the quarterback, just because the Vikings are excellent on offense and they're average on defense. So it really comes down to can this defense show why we are a top 5 defense in the league and shut down the best receiver in the NFL and a red hot Kirk Cousins and a dominant offense that they have. I mean, they got weapons all over the place with Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook. You know, their defense, they got playmakers out there. They got veterans with Harrison Smith. They got Pat Pete. They got some guys. They got an elite pass rush. But Mike White's got to play efficient, and the defense got to be the reason why we win that game, and the running attack's got to get going. So that's going to be a big one, and I'm excited for it. Jets Unleashed, I always appreciate your enthusiasm and your passion here on the Monday call-ins, whether we win or lose. And I'll see you Wednesday night in the roundtable, my friend.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get payback for Master at work. See how he likes the bottom now.
Oh, yeah, let him know. Cannot wait for that. I'll see you Wednesday, my guy.
Shut up. Let's go.
Shut up, baby. Let's go. Love that. Guys, the AFC East Roundtable is going to be live Wednesday night. You all know the vibes. That's going to be fun because the Patriots are back in the basement and the Jets are back in the playoffs. V-Man is back.
What's up?
Are you on the Oculus right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Star Wars Squadrons to work in VR. It's glitching like hell.
That's funny. I never played Squadrons yet. How is it on VR?
It's good. If you want to get it, it's free.
Oh, yeah?
It's free on the Epic Games Store, so I got it for free.
Nice, man. You celebrated Victory Monday, immersing yourself in the galaxy far, far away.
Yep.
Can't do anything wrong with that.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm and the whole thing, last call was, Jet was absolutely correct about the Patriots call. Thing is, if you look at the thing is, we had a perfect weekend because almost perfect. Bills losing would have been better, but, so far, I think, we had probably the best possible outcome that we could have anticipated.
Yeah, if the Titans beat the Bengals, that would have made it a little bit better. Just a little bit.
The thing is, I don't worry. Look, the fact is, this game I'm not worried about upcoming. The Jets historically own the Vikings. They're 8-3 all time, and they've outscored them 267 to 181.
Wow. Well, hopefully history repeats itself because that would be a gigantic victory if we can beat an 8-2 Vikings team.
The Vikings, they're all offense. Their defense is just not. I mean, look, they made the Matt Patricia offense look good.
Yeah.
Let's be real. They made Matt Patricia's offense look good. That's how.
And we shut that offense down. I mean, the Patriots did not beat us because of their offense. The Patriots beat us because we didn't have an offense and we couldn't cover a punt in the last possession.
Well, yeah, and the illegal block in the back, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but no, like I said, that's the thing with the Patriots. That's the thing. The Vikings can't. Their defense is not good, so I expect the Jets to be able to exploit that. And as long as the Jets defense is solid, I don't see the Vikings being able to hold us down forever.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to how the hell do we contain Justin Jefferson, because we all know that he's a generational player. It's going to be Sauce Gardner's, like, he's had a lot of big tests this season, but this is going to be his biggest by a large margin. I know he went up against Diggs. I know he went up against Jamar Chase, but Justin Jefferson is just another animal. I mean, he is like one of the best receivers I've seen.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, we should win this game. I'm confident we can go. If we can win this game, we get to 8-4. And I feel like we can go into Buffalo. The Bills, we can go to Buffalo. We can beat the Bills. We can go on a run here. And the thing is with the Patriots is the Patriots are notorious. They've had last 3 years, they've had late season collapses that have doomed their season. You think about it, 2019, they were 8-0 at the halfway point. They went 4-4 down the stretch. It cost them their first round bye. 2020, they were 6-6 going into December. They went 1-3, ultimately missed out on the playoffs. 2021, they beat the Bills in that game where the win did 90% of the work. Let's be real. They had the 1 seed in their hands, and they went 1-3 down the stretch, and fell to a wild card team that ultimately got humiliated by the Bills in the playoffs. They had this recent trend of late season collapses. So, like, the team I'm more concerned about is the Bengals and the Chargers, but the Chargers always find a way to screw things up.
Yeah, I mean, those are the teams we got to look out for, and I feel like the Jets just got to stop as a team. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on your business, because if they can go 4-2 on this next 6 games trend, I like their chances of making the playoffs. So, V-Man, I appreciate the call in as always, and I love the history between the Jets and Vikings that you bring to the table, and hopefully they repeat that, and we get the dub, and hopefully we're celebrating another Victory Monday a week from today, my man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Take care, my man. Another great call from V-Man. We got Johnny and Ray coming up. Appreciate you fellas being patient behind the scenes. We're going to get to you guys in just a second. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, please do me a gigantic favor and hit that like button for your boy. We got 125 likes with 145 people watching. If you do not already, please hit that like button as we're celebrating another Jets victory on this fine Monday. Again, I hope you guys all had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend and enjoy the Jets getting a W. And we got Johnny, who is a great member of the channel, who's been a supporter of Jets Media for a long time. Johnny, how you doing?
Forever, Richie. Forever. All right. So, listen, Richie, I would like you at least to see my name and hear it as I pronounce it. Right? All right. That's Johnny Murahiel.
Murahiel. Johnny Murahiel.
Murahiel.
Got it.
All right. Sounds okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course. Now, Johnny Murahiel.
Listen, I sat behind like 6 dudes that were all very positive and very spot on, each one making a significant comment, significant contribution to the discourse today, right? So I really have nothing to add other than to say, to sit here and say, all right, I waited in line, everybody is right, and thanks a lot for being here so consistently. I was on the live call yesterday. I didn't poke my nose in, but I was there.
Appreciate that.
And we appreciate that aspect of what you do also. So
thank you.
For all you do, thank you so much. And thank you all to the guys all the guys who came before me, who all spoke truth. So.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, Johnny. I mean, you can, even if you repeat some of the same stuff, you can talk about the game. Don't hold back.
Oh, well, I have nothing to hold back on. I was very appreciative of the fact that the wide receivers did get an ample sampling of the bounty of yesterday's win. I only can salivate to think about what would have our running attack would have been had we still had Brees and an active ADT. And I don't think Carter has been quite as good since Brees went out.
Yeah, I agree. Carter has not really stepped up, and
so
luckily we have depth behind him.
Right. So, but that's all right to that extent. We didn't really need them. But listen, I do have something to say that nobody else has said so far. I think we've got a legitimate shot at running 5-1 on this next 6.
Nice.
I think. Listen, at the beginning of the year, right after the draft, I looked at our draft, what the rest of the AFC East was looking like. And I said, okay, well, we've got a really legitimate shot. And I said 11-7 at the beginning of the year. Right?
I remember that.
Going 6-1 at the end of the year is going to get us better than 11-7, but it will also make the statement that the Jets are here. That's what's going to make the statement about the Jets being legitimate contenders. Now, if we do that and hit an 11 that 5 games, look at each one of the games independently and tell me that you don't have a significant chance against every single one of those teams.
Hey, the only team that I'm afraid of in those next coming games, Johnny, is the Bills, and we already beat them.
And we have beat them.
Exactly.
Right? And we have had a history of going into Buffalo and winning in Buffalo. Well, we've lost in Buffalo. We certainly know that. Thank you very much, Fitzgerald. But Fitzmaurice, whatever his name was. Fitzpatrick. Right?
The one thing I'll say to you, Johnny, if the Jets go 5-1 for the rest of the year, then I got confidence in them making a playoff push, because that means we're hot at the right time, and that means we're heading into the postseason.
No. That means that, right. And it means that we have an opportunity to do what I have said. This is my other prediction, that we're going to go 3-1 in the playoffs.
So that means a
1,
Super Bowl
2,
loss?
3. That means a Super Bowl loss.
Wow. Johnny's got us going to the Super Bowl and losing. Sign me up for that, Johnny. I can just thinking of that.
That's been but Rich, you don't understand. I've been a Jet fan since they were the Titans. I've been a Jet fan. No fooling. I was there when I don't know what is Sammy Baugh or somebody. Some ancient quarterback was our starting quarterback. In any event, I've been around for both the losses, for a lot of everything. I was there and glorified when we won the Super Bowl. I was really too young to appreciate what that was. I think all of us who experienced that victory, that Super Bowl victory, we all had a feeling that it could happen again. And look, with Joe Willie, anything could have happened.
Hey, so man, if your prediction is right, Johnny, you are going to be the star of my channel. You're going to be you're going to be on the show for the whole week leading up to the Super Bowl, and you're going to be you're going to change my logo to you for your face if the Jets make the Super Bowl, because hey, you never know. The Bengals did it last year. Why not us? So
well, exactly. It can be done.
We're going to get to the next caller, Johnny. I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Richie.
You're a great call, and I appreciate all the support. And we're going to be celebrating this again next Monday after we beat the Vikings. How about that?
Right on.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate the support as always. Enjoy. Victory Monday, my man. Johnny, what a great call. How about that? We're going to the damn Super Bowl. I'm with Johnny on that. 5-1 Super Bowl run. And if we lose to the Super Bowl, all right, we lost in a Super Bowl. It's whatever, right? Ray, thank you, my friend, for being patient back there.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm sitting here. I'm in the dark mode today. I'm like Darth Maul or whoever.
Look at you. You're Anakin Skywalker right now.
There it is. Okay, so enjoyed the game yesterday. Love Mike White. I'm gonna say this. If we keep Mike White, I was thinking about quarterbacks, and I'm like saying to myself, he makes it look very, very easy. It's not even, I'm not even stressing. Even if he threw an interception or two throughout the next couple of games, not every game, but at least I'm comfortable knowing that our offense can move the ball. I'm more comfortable with what Johnny was saying. I could see them going to the Super Bowl with the Mike White, and there's no knock against Zach Wilson, but yes, with Zach comes back, I think everybody's going to be apprehensive. Oh my gosh, did he learn anything? Did it really work? Sitting him on the bench. When you got somebody that like Mike White who could just come in and make it look so easy, he doesn't have to get any repairs, like taking a car to the shop and say, oh man, we got to go and change the tires on this one. He comes in and he just so comfortably moves the offense. Last year, he lost to Buffalo, that Buffalo game. I was watching an interview that was talking to him, and he said that what he learned from the Buffalo game was that he was trying too hard. He said he's seen a lot of things that he learned. He said it will not happen again. He's that comfortable and confident that he knows that if he was to play Buffalo again, and people are like, oh, well, yeah, we seen him play against Cincinnati, and he did great against Cincinnati, and then he got hurt, then he stunk it out. I said, listen, it's progression, just like they said. This man has more. Sad to say it, I love the way the offense works with Mike White. I seen what I was trying to compare all four of our quarterbacks. He has the calmness of Flacco. He has and the quick releases, and he also has. If he wanted to play hero ball, I probably think he could. But I think he knows the offense so well that he knows where he's going real quick. I think if we got it in a shootout, I really think that he could probably we can maintain with him. So when we play the Vikings next week, I'm excited because it was raining and the offense was moving. Can you imagine what our receiver? Now I'm getting excited now. So do you know what our offense will look like on that Minnesota Viking turf with Elijah Moore being able to do what he does, and the quarterback, his passes are going to be
in a dome.
We will beat Minnesota, and I was thinking about the next couple of games. I know that we'll beat. I think he wants that Buffalo game. So I'm more comfortable now with him, Buffalo. The only game that bothers me is the Miami Dolphin game at the end of the year because of the way their offense looked. But you know what? Our defense scared me yesterday, and people like, oh, they was comfortable. The first drive, the couple drives that Chicago did, I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're running the ball right up the alley on us. And I think that has to do with the loss of who was the guy? Rankins. I think Rankins, yes, I think with Rankins missing, I think that our defensive line isn't getting as much pressure as there was when we had Rankins. So I'm seeing the linebackers missing. And also I saw what's going to get beat. What's his name? 57. He got the
Mosley.
Mosley was chasing that one guy down the sideline. I seen Mosley miss the tackle and he was chasing. He looks really slow. I don't know if it was what happened yesterday, but I was like, man, this guy's leaving Mosley. So hey, when we play against Miami, I'm a little concerned with our linebacker play. And I think that anyway, positive vibes. Mike White.
There you go.
When we look, hey, listen to this. When they say when you take iron and you put it in the fire and it turns red hot.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think the hottest you can get is white. When that Mike White is
there we go.
White is on fire. So great victory. I'm not too concerned with Minnesota next week. I would love to. I'm looking forward to seeing Sauce Gardner against their best receiver. And I think that we do have to tailor our defense a little bit to make sure we get some little help. Even though he's good, Sauce is great. I still think we need to play some switch up, take one of the linebackers out, add another safety or another corner to come in and play under, because they're going to be trying to get that ball to that receiver. I think we got to have to help out a little bit.
I couldn't agree more with you, Ray. There's a lot of excitement, and I got a lot of optimism heading into that Minnesota Vikings game for a lot of reasons. And Mike White, he's white hot. And if we can continue to ride that hot hand, and if he can continue to just do the easy things, and I said it already on the stream, but I'm going to come back to the point that what Mike White reminded us as a Jets fan base yesterday is how good this offense is, playmaking-wise and protection-wise, if you have a quarterback that knows where to put the ball properly, because we have to remind ourselves, Elijah Moore ain't no scrub. Garrett Wilson is a star. We have Conklin, who's a very good tight end, and Breece Hall's done for the year. Carter went down, and we have running backs coming into the game dominating. So the talent around the quarterback is evident, and it's unfortunate that Zach Wilson couldn't take advantage of the talent around him, but it's okay because we have a guy, Mike White, who knows the system in year number 2, can be more than a game manager, because he was not a game manager yesterday. I'd say that much. He was way more than a game manager, stretching the ball down the field, reading the defense. Oh, it's not there. I'm going to take it underneath for a first down. Boom, boom, boom. All we ever wanted, man. So, Ray, your enthusiasm, your passion, it really just exuberates through the screen. I feel you all the way through on the West Coast in California. I'm pumped up. You should be pumped up. And let's go beat the Minnesota Vikings. I appreciate your call, my friend.
Hey, 5-1 the rest of the year. I'm with Johnny. Let's go 5-1 the rest of the year and send messages. I'm going to jump on that wagon right there. How about 5-1?
We got 5 more Victory Mondays to celebrate, if that's
the case. Let's go.
I'll see you all 5 of them.
Thank you for the time, man. All right.
Always.
All right.
Peace out, my man. Love it. Love it. All right, guys. So we're going to get to the final caller of the show. I appreciate everybody being patient and supporting Jets media, my man. It feels good to have this platform to communicate with all Jets fans across the world. And let's go, baby. We got Naft in the house.
Let's go, buddy.
Yeah, ETS.
We did it. We did it. And
yes, we did.
Dude,
Mike White.
It's time to bring out the hat.
Yeah,
I got
man,
this
that's
hat.
the first time I've ever seen you with Jets.
I know. My brother actually brought this back from the States to Israel to me from like last year around. Nice. I've never actually put it on because no respect, but 7-4 when my team is 7-4, I'm gonna be rocking the Jets.
Absolutely. Rep that proudly, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Oh man, I watched a little bit. The games are late here, so
yeah, of course.
So I passed out during the game, but woke up this morning 31-10. 7-4, baby. And the fact that when I watch YouTube videos of press conferences about, how do you call those people? People that talk about the Jets on the news in America.
The beat.
All those other guys, and when they talk about the Jets and in the same sentence they say Jets and playoffs in the same sentence, that's like, come on.
That gets you
big
giddy,
smile
right?
on the face. Big smile on the face, man.
We haven't been in the playoffs in 12 years, the longest drought in
we have
the
the longest drought. I'm so waiting for us to get to that. I don't even care about the Super Bowl. I just want us to get the wild card, 7 seed. Let us break that drought. I have a good friend that's a Broncos fan. The Broncos would be last, would have the longest drought if we would get in right now.
Oh my gosh. How good would that feel, man?
I'm just gonna say everyone suck it, man. I don't even give a shit.
Yeah, let it all out.
Fuck you all haters, man. It's been enough. Why do we always have to be the ones that lose? Why always us? When do we get to be happy? And this is the year. I'm so happy I'm a Jets fan. I'm so happy, I don't know, man. This year is different. We're 7-4. I don't know about Minnesota next week, but except that, just Let Mike White cook.
Let Mike White cook, man. We have every single right to be happy right now.
Dude.
We have a defense that's humming. We have a quarterback that's playing well, and
I have to apologize. I said last week that Mike White would be terrible. I have to apologize to Mike White. He did a fantastic job.
Yes, he did.
And listen, you can't and I saw today that the only quarterback that did what Mike did in 2 games is the other average quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. Don't compare an average quarterback to the GOAT.
Hey, man, Mahomes comparisons, I'll take it. Oh, my gosh. Well, Naft, I appreciate the call. I love the passion that you bring from Israel. And
let's go, man.
Go freaking Jets.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go,
I'll
man.
See you next Monday for the Victory Monday.
Either way, I'll be on, dude.
Let's go. All right, man. Have a good rest of your day, all right?
You too.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up the stream. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Love you all. Let's go Jets. Tomorrow is going to be the all-22 film breakdown. Hit that like button, guys, on your way out. And that's going to wrap up today's show. Happy Victory Monday. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Let's go Jets. Peace out.